Hey, how's it going? Welcome back to the Spinner Rack. I'll be your host, Calvin Ellis. And what we're doing for the summer is our summer comic reviews. Might throw in a TV show here or there. And since I'm a big Superman fan, expect to see a whole bunch of Superman stuff. So this is your summer if you're like me. Okay, and Big Blue is where it's at. But we'll be looking to do some other stuff as well, since I happen to have a little bit more free time this summer. So, our first review of the summer is going to be Superman Lost number 5. If you have not read Superman Lost 1, 2, 3, or 4, this is probably not a review you should start with. However, that's where I'm starting, as I just can't be bothered to go back all the way to Superman Lost number 1. You'll find out about that as I get into the review, but I will give a bit of a backdrop. So, Superman Lost, written by Christopher Priest, is, well, again, before I get into any sort of analysis, Superman goes on a routine mission with the Justice League. In trying to once again save the world and save the day, Superman is transported thousands of light years away from Earth, and he's lost. He doesn't know where he is. He doesn't know how to get back to Earth. And the first four issues of Superman Lost deal with the fact that he's struggling to get home. He's alone. He's got to balance loneliness with encountering space people and not knowing if he's ever going to get back, if he's ever going to get back to Earth, and how that weighs on him. That's a big part of the first four issues. Now, overall, the story is an examination of Superman's humanity. If we put him in a situation that would be quite debilitating for the average human being, well, what does that do for Superman? Hmm. Part of the problem with this series is that if you're a Superman reader, even if you're not a regular Superman reader, but you do have a good general knowledge of this character, you have to come into this really willing to accept the premise that Priest has put for you in terms of this story. You have to believe, one, that Superman could actually get lost. That's a big leap, as Superman goes through space all the time. Okay, he has an eidetic memory, a photographic memory. So he would never forget star charts, any of these places. There have literally been stories where he's flown from the edge of the universe, not the edge of the known universe, but the edge of the universe back to Earth, right? And in the most recent Action Comics 1050, he's transported away by Lex Luthor, to we don't know where. I'm pretty certain Superman didn't know where he was either, and he comes right back in seconds. So this is what's going on in the regular comics, and so you really have to put a lot of that to the side to embrace this. And for some readers, that won't be a problem because they're just going to focus on the how this is affecting him and how he reacts to these things on an emotional level. Okay, well then again, you have to also put to the side that Superman has been in situations like this before, challenging situations of his humanity. There's a storyline where Superman was tortured for 200 years. 200 years by Magog, and at no point did he waver with his morality. He was told that, hey, if I'll stop the torture and I'll bring you back if you just allow me to kill this particular person. And Superman never wavered. He said no. His commitment to human life, regardless of how much he's tortured, regardless of how much he's tempted, is not going to waver. 200 years. Okay, so this guy has a pretty strong will and it's pretty durable. Okay, we've had a storyline where Superman was fighting with Wonder Woman for 1,000 years in Asgard, and in that time, Superman not only continued to fight, stayed hopeful, he never cheated. Okay, he never availed himself of Wonder Woman, even when it seemed that Wonder Woman would be a willing participant. He held out hope that he would make it back home, okay, and he would make it back to the woman he loves, Lois Lane, which is good because he actually did make it back. So it wouldn't necessarily be a great thing to say, oh, what does he do now? But And this is something that I believe a lot of people don't get about the character. A lot of people want to trumpet Superman's humanity, but their approach to humanity is very flawed. Okay, human beings are imperfect creatures. We make a lot of mistakes. Okay, but we also do a lot of good stuff as well. Right, and the triumph of the human spirit. Okay, the will. All right, that's that's the grandmother, the grandfather who they don't feel well. Their leg may not be very well because they have arthritis in the knee, but they suck it up to go play with their grandchildren. Right, they get out there and like, hey, they're not going to grumble or anything of that nature. They're going to put this to the side because it's more important that they accomplish that. See, that's the type of thing that Superman espouses. The triumph of the human spirit. Okay, with the will, okay, and the desire to do good. Okay, and to be strong enough in spite of everything else that's pressing on you to do good is going to trump everything else. So in this story, he's already pretty much, that's pretty much gone. Okay, he's still looking, but I mean, he's very sullen by the time we get to issue number 5. So we get into issue number 5, and he meets up with a Green Lantern, and he's like, "Oh, this is great. I meet up with this Green Lantern, and she's gonna be able to, it's a Green Lantern, be able to navigate and get back home." Of course, the Green Lantern is new. She has not been instructed on how to be a Green Lantern. Her ring, for some reason, can't tell her anything, so she's just as stranded as Superman. Again, so now you have to believe that the Green Lantern ring doesn't work. She doesn't know what she's doing, so she's just a it really is asking you to just enjoy the fact that this guy's lost. Okay, and how emo he can be in terms of his being lost at the end of the day. Doesn't it It's really stretching it. Okay, because it's one Superman can't find his way. It's not even so much that the Green Lantern, okay, can't find her way because she's new, but the ring doesn't work. So now this is all riding on how successful the plot twist of this story is going to be. All right, if you look at the Green Lantern carefully, you look and you realize, oh, that's not a Green Lantern symbol, on her outfit. That's an Owen symbol, ion rather. Okay, so there's something else that's going to happen. We don't know if this is like too. I mean, it could be something as nonsensical as he's spending time in his mind or something of that nature, whatever it may be. And then he's got to come through these particular things. So whatever the plot twist is, that's what's going to make or break this particular storyline. I don't think that's very fair. I don't think Christopher Priest, to be quite honest, is being very fair to himself as a writer, if that's what it does come down to, because that's what it seems like. And his approach to Superman, and this is a guy whose writing I have really enjoyed. His Black Panther run, with the exception of Don McGregor, is probably the best writing on the Black Panther. He's done other great stuff with Power Man and Iron Fist when he was writing under the name Jim Owsley. He did a nice short with Captain America and the Falcon. He understands. It's not that he doesn't understand these characters, but his approach to Superman is, uh it's I find it very disappointing when a writer says the only way that they can approach this character is to limit the character. I can't let the character be himself, herself. I've got to, do these type of things so I can tell the story that I think I can actually execute with this. So Superman has to not be someone who can journey through space and legitimately be lost somehow. I've got to depower him. He can't achieve light speed. I'm going to put him in this situation over here where he can't get any help, and when he returns back to Earth, he's still not able to get with it. So it's a lot. It's a lot to overcome in order for someone like me to enjoy the story. However, I've conversed with other people, and they are enjoying this story. I'm at a loss. Why? Because of course, how I'm approaching it. And when I do discuss it with them, well, Western literature doesn't require for you to justify that you like something. If you like it, you like it. It resonates with you on whatever level, that's fine. However, I do like a bit of honesty in terms of that, in that sort of liking it. Meaning, there's stories that I've read, and the stories weren't very good. Heck, the stories were trash, but I was entertained by it. Okay, I was entertained by it, and I have no problem saying, "Hey, this story is not very good. This story isn't very well crafted, but for whatever reason, on some level, I just like it." That goes a long way with me as opposed to, well, look at this Superman story over here, and it's similar to this one. It's like, no, it's not. It's not. These two things are totally different in terms of it. The fact that Lex Luthor made him hallucinate and was trying to break his will. Well, yeah, but he fought it off thanks to his spirit, and now he's back to being Superman. Here, we don't have that. Okay, here we have a situation where pretty much the spirit is broken, and it's still broken when he gets back home. So, what's the parallel that we're seeing here? What's the parallel between these two stories? There isn't one. So for those people who are enjoying it, if you do actually, chime in the comments, I would love to know why you're enjoying it. If you can articulate that, it's not always able to do such. If it's just one of the things where, hey, look, I like it. Hey, more power to you. It doesn't really help me to understand the finer points into what somebody's plugging into, which I would really love to understand, because Superman again is this character who is supposed to represent on a macro level the best qualities that a human being has to offer. Okay, compassion, generosity, fortitude of the human will, intestinal fortitude. Those are the qualities that supposedly a lot of people will say, hey, this is the reason why we love this character. It's not his powers, which is a lie. The powers are definitely a part of it too. Okay, I would tune into the shows and read the comics because I wanted to see Superman do something cool with his powers. I wasn't picking up the book because I wanted to see just how nice of a guy he is. Okay, so it's definitely a mixture of both of them. But for the people who say, look, it's the human stuff, okay, is it? Because Superman exemplifies, superlative, the excellent qualities that human beings possess. If we're in a situation where you're, oh, well, I'm digging this because, hey, look at him. He looks like at any moment he's just gonna crack, and that's the draw, that you want to see that Superman can crack like anyone else. Well, that's definitely your prerogative. I don't know how good of a Superman story that is, or why that's a Superman story that certain people are attracted to, with the exception of you just think this character needs the comeuppance of being brought down to this particular level when he's not supposed to be there. He is supposed to be an aspirational, inspirational character. That's where he works best. It's not that you can't do a story like this. I just don't see the mileage that you get, with the exception of the minority of people who think he should be in a story like this, and usually for reasons that they just don't really care for this character. Or you're one of these guys who, you have a preconceived notion of Superman in your mind, and when you see this, you're like, oh, I didn't know Superman could cry. I didn't know Superman could feel lonely. I love this type of thing. And again, that's a lot of onus on you, where you're thinking that this is a character who's incapable of these things because of his powers, rather than the fact that, hey, this is a guy who, his humanity plus his powers is what makes him who he is. All right. So that's our opening, or rather, that's the over for the summer reviews. Superman Lost number 5. Hey, please chime in if you're enjoying it, or if you're not enjoying it, we'd love to hear what you have to hear. This is Calvin Ellis for the Spinner Rack. I'll see you next time.